Hello everyone, welcome to today's current affairs session of Civilspedia. The topics we are going to see is INF Treaty, Electoral Bond Scheme, Amur Falcon and WTO Challenges. INF Treaty. The INF Treaty full form stands for Intermediate Range Nuclear Force Treaty. This is the arms treaty that has been signed between USSR and USA in 1987. The main objective of this treaty is to, during that time 1980s, the Cold War was at the peak duration. So at that time, Europe was the bone of contention between USA and USSR. So at that time, USSR, Russia, started to develop SS-20 ballistic missile. This was a huge threat to Europe. And in response to counterattack this Russia's SS-20 ballistic missile, USA started to develop their own missile system. To stop this arms race between USSR and USA, the Europe wanted to have a treaty to be signed by both these people. So at that time, this INF treaty has been signed. So the main objective is to control the arms race between the USSR and USA. So that time, the ground-based missile was the peak at the time. So this treaty was focused purely on this ground-based missile system. So the main objective is to control this nuclear and conventional ground-based missile system that ranges from 500 to 5,500 kilometers. So beyond that, it will not control. And at the same time, this treaty will not cover the sea-based as well as air-launched missile system. So it will cover only this ground-based missile system. And what are the complications right now with respect to this INF treaty is, USA has recently said that they wanted to withdraw from this INF treaty. So what is the impact of this withdrawing from INF treaty on the world level? That is the important issue we have to understand with respect to this. So what is the advantages of this ground-based missile system is, it is more and more cheap and it is very easy to control when it is a ground-based instead of this submarine-based or air-based launching system. So right now the China is main the competitor in this world level nuclear forces. So most of the 90% of Chinese missile system was based on this INF, this 500 to 5,500 meter range nuclear missile system. So 90% of Chinese missile system is based on this ground-based missile system, while Russia and as well as this USA has been curtailed to have this ground-based missile system as per this treaty. So the USA said that since China is having this much of missile system ground-based and it is much cheaper to, why USA has to spend more and more money to have this submarine-based and air-launched missile system. So the USA said that first foremost reason they said why they wanted to withdraw from this treaty is Chinese has so much of missiles based on this ground-based one, but they are not included in this INF treaty. So the main objective of this controlling this arms race will not have the real ground level objectiveness. So the USA said that they want to withdraw from this treaty. The second reason they said is Russia has been violating this treaty since last few years. So USA said that there is no need to follow this treaty. So they wanted to withdraw from that. And third important thing is this treaty is covering this traditional nuclear armed missile system only. But right now the more and more the focus is on this hypersonic based missile system. This hypersonic missile system is the crucial one right now in this nuclear warhead season. So in that thing, this traditional nuclear armed force is not that much level valid. So the USA said that we want to withdraw from this INF treaty. So until this China entering into this treaty, the objective of this treaty will not fulfill. USA said like that. So this is the issues that respect to INF treaty. The next topic is electoral bond scheme. This electoral bond scheme is nothing but it is a financial instrument that has been used to fund these political parties. So the main objective of this electoral bond scheme is to cleanse this political party funding. So this recently this ADR, that is Association of Democratic Reforms, which is an important NGO for this electoral reforms, they said that almost 70% of this political party funding in the last 11 years in India has been from unknown resources only. So to have to identify the sources and to cleanse this political party funding, we need to have some more strategy. So the recent government that has taken the strategy is this electoral bond scheme. Last year in financial budget, they have announced this scheme. And after that, we have issued this electoral bonds. Right now, the news with respect to this electoral bonds is, we have recently announced the 6th phase of this electoral bonds. So we have launched that 6th phase of electoral bonds. That is the news with respect to this electoral bond. So what other things we have to know about this electoral bonds with respect to Prelims perspective is, What is the nature of the bond? The first thing is it is a promissory note. That is, it is like a bearer bond only. And second important thing is it is an interest free. That is, by investing the money in this electoral bond, the person will not gain any interest, and it is not comes under the tax exemption. These three things we have to note with respect to this electoral bond. And another thing is who can purchase this electoral bond is any citizen of India or any other bodies that has been incorporated within this Indian territory. That is a company as well as Indian citizen alone can purchase this electoral bonds. So no other foreigners can purchase this electoral bonds. And what is the amount that comes under this electoral bonds is the amounts will be in the multiples of 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh and 1 crore. So in multiples of that only we can have this electoral bond. Until this 2,000 rupees, we can fund it through as cash. That is, up to 2,000 rupees we can give to a political party in a cash. But beyond 2,000 rupees, then we have to go in a digital way or in a check through this electoral bond method. Then second thing, important noting is eligibility. So who are all eligible to get this electoral bond? First thing is, as per this, a political party who are registered under this Representation of People Act 1951 and the political party which has secured more than 1% of the total votes that has been polled in this last general election, then that parties alone can have this electoral bond eligibility, and no other foreign donors can participate in this electoral bond. And what are the conditions for the buyers to get this electoral bond is, first thing is they have to follow this KYC norms, that is know your customer norms. Then second thing is this electoral bond will not carry the name of the payee. That is, the name of the payee will not be in this electoral bond. That gives this anonymity to this electoral payee. And another thing with respect to this tenure and availability is the bond when they are issued, from the date of issue, it is valid only for 15 days. So if a person is buying electoral bond, then they have to submit it to the political party within the 15 days of the issue. And another thing is, right now this RBI has given a power to SBI and its notified branches to issue this electoral bonds. And another thing is, only 10 days in the month of April, July, October and January, the RBI will issue this electoral bonds through SBI. So beyond that it will not issue. So for totally 40 days in a year, it will have issued this electoral bond. So in case of any election is upcoming, then additional 30 days will be allocated to issue this bond. So whatever the bond is issued, only from that date of issue, the 15 days only it will be valid. And what are the criticism with respect to this electoral bond is, first and foremost thing, it is said that it is not mandatory for the political party to give it the report of how much electoral bond funds it has collected to this election commission. So it undermines the role of the election commission in this political party funding. So it reduces the auditing power of this election commission to have a check and balance on this political party. That is the first criticism. So that shows this main objective of this electoral bond is to cleanse this political party funding and to increase this transparency. But the anonymity that has been given to this electoral bond shows that whatever the little transparency that is available already in the political system will be eroded. So that is the first and foremost major criticism with respect to this electoral bond. Second thing is, it will promote more and more of corporate and political party nexus. So since there was anonymity and it can be up to this, no upper limit also that is provided to this electoral bond. That shows a company can provide up to maximum limit which they wanted. So it will shows that political nexus between this corporate and this political parties will be strengthened much more. That is the dangerous to this democratic system, and it will affect the free and fair election also. So that is the second important criticism with respect to this electoral bond. And this no upper limit is the major political contention, because there is no upper limit means, and there is a severe anonymity means anybody can fund it up to their maximum level. Earlier there was some provisions that up to 20,000 rupees they are funding, then there will be no problem. Beyond that, then they will come under this election commission report, and income tax exemptions will also given to that. But right now there is no tax exemptions, so there will be no incentives for the people to invest in this electoral bond. So these are the major criticisms that has been with respect to this electoral bond. And another thing with respect to prelims perspective is Amur Falcon. Recently the Falcon festival is going to be conducted in Nagaland. So that is the issue with respect to this Amur Falcon. So we will know what is this Amur Falcon and what is the speciality of this one. This Amur Falcon is the small raptor that belongs to this falcon family. It is also known as Eastern Red-Footed Falcon. So in the picture itself, we can see the red-footed is known as this Eastern Red-Footed Falcon. The breeding place of this falcon is started in Southeast Siberia and Northern China. From that, it will migrate to India for this winter breeding season. And from India, it will concentrate much on this Doyang Lake of Nagaland. And from that, it will migrated to southern African countries. And then it returned back to Siberia, North China. This is one of the longest migrating bird in the world. So it covers almost 22,000 kilometers. That is the speciality of this Amur Falcon. So the recent issue of this Amur Falcon is in 2012, that was a huge outcry of more and more poaching of this Amur Falcon in northeast of India. So the media has said that more and more this Amur Falcon has been captured by Indian people. So that shows a major criticism of India at the global level. Then the steps has been taken in 2012. From 2015, there was a Falcon Festival inaugurated each and every year. So each and every year the festival will be celebrated, and this year Nagaland is going to celebrate this festival. It's going to host this festival. And the IUCN status of this Amur Falcon is least concern. And the WTO challenges. The main issues that has been going with respect to WTO challenges is US President has said that this WTO is not doing fair judgments. So they are saying they wanted to withdraw from this WTO. This is one of the huge things that is happening with respect to this world trade. Because the withdrawing of US from this WTO will impact all other countries. Because it will trigger the trade war, and so that it will hamper this global trade also. So what are the things that has been US has done, and how it is impacting the WTO's future is the biggest question mark. So first thing is, recently the US has said, going beyond this criticizing WTO, they have increased the tariff. That is, US has increased the tariff on imports of steel and aluminium on the grounds of the national security. Actually, then this national security grounds will mainly focus right now on this protectionism format only. It's not beyond that. Earlier, why they have provided this national security grounds is, if there is any enemy countries, then they can, on the ground of national security, they can put the tariff. But now the US has used this national security grounds as the name of a protectionism. So it is first time it is hampering this world trade, because protectionism is against this globalization. While WTO's main objective is to attain the globalization, while this protectionism movement is hampering this WTO's movement. And second thing what this made is, while this US has increased this tariff, then automatically, especially this tariff increase is focusing on China. So since they are putting a tariff on China, then China will start to increase their own tariff, and this is going to affect all the countries who are trading with China. So thereby it is going to lead this trade war. So to stop this trade war, recently the European Union also conducted a meeting. And apart from that, the Canada also in Ottawa, they organized a meeting by inviting 12 like-minded people. But in this meeting, the US or China or India was not invited. So all other 12 like-minded countries along with Canada was participated in the meeting. What is the outcome of meeting, or what is the agenda of that meeting is, three things they have focused on with respect to this WTO challenges. First thing is dispute resolutions, because how to improve this WTO's dispute resolution mechanism. The procedures that has been following by this dispute resolution is, first, whatever the disputes, it will go to a panel, and from the panel it will go to this appellate board. So this appellate board consists of 7 members. Recently 4 members has been retired from this appellate board. Only 3 members is retaining. That is the minimum required for quorum. While the US is blocking of appointing any other future members, then next year December, the another person is going to retire. With that, only 2 people will left. This will be inadequate to conduct any other forum. So they said that the WTO will go further by leaving US, and they will going to appoint this new members. That is the first issue with respect to this dispute resolution. They wanted to strengthen this dispute resolution mechanism. And second thing with respect to this WTO challenges, this monitoring transparency of this members' trade policies. Because US condemned the WTO that it is not curtailing China's hidden subsidies. So that is a major thing. The US is saying that WTO is not doing this free and fair trading practices. So how to curtail this hidden subsidies is another major talks in front of this WTO. But this hidden subsidies is not only happening with respect to this China, It is happening with respect to those earlier of developed countries also. Earlier, most of the developed or industrialized countries, their defense sponsored research only lead to many other new technologies like artificial intelligence, GPS, and much more things. So they are all funded by this defense sponsored research only. That leads them to capture this market a lot. So the China said that this hidden subsidies is not happening only in China, it is happening in all other countries also. But right now, whatever it is, the transparency has to be maintained and it has to be followed. Then only it will help the global trade to grow a much lot. And third important thing with respect to the WTO challenges, how to re-strengthen this WTO's negotiation process, because this dispute resolution as well as this negotiation process is the ultimate building block of this WTO trading practices. So without strengthening these two things, there is no objective that has been met by this WTO. So how to this strengthen this negotiating process is, right now this consensus based negotiating process is going on, but each and every country having this veto power makes to take a large global level challenges. So to meet the global level challenges, we need to have more move from this consensus based into qualified majority. Like 85% of the majority of the people, if say yes, then we can approve that resolution. By going that, we can make more and more quicker resolutions. And allowing this plurilateral agreement within WTO is another major thing that wanted to have this negotiating process. Because nowadays more and more countries have the pluripotent agreement apart from this WTO. This parallel economy, this is the parallel agreement will make the level of the WTO to reduce. So until the WTO itself define himself and allowing this plurilateral agreement, this WTO will lead into a falling. And another important thing with respect to WTO is the role of G20. Earlier in 2008 global financial crisis, the role of G20 was a huge one. Instead that each and every country couldn't solve that global financial crisis, this G20 played a crucial role to have this global level financial meeting. But right now in the WTO meeting, the trade practices is not happening. So each and every country is wanting their own objective to be met. So like this G20, we need to have a common meeting place and more countries has to participate in it and to have a somewhat compromisation to give and take policy, so that it will have win-win strategy in this WTO. That is the major objective of this WTO. With that thing, we will end today's current affairs section. Thank you. Subscribe and like this channel.